Here with me, South Africa's High Commissioner to Canada, Rieaz Shaik. And High Commissioner, thank you so much for being here. You have such a deep and personal connection to the former Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney. He was actually, while he was Prime Minister, you were in jail. And
Yes.
we know that he did a lot of work for the anti-apartheid movement. And certainly this loss has got to be very touching on a personal level.
Indeed, seriously touching. It is a sad day. We've come to say our final goodbyes and to remember the things that he's done for South Africa. And I think we give honor for what he has done. Remarkable, remarkable courage. I just wish that the world would have his kind of courage today. But you know, people have always asked me, so what did he really do? Canada is such a small country in the world. No, your national ego is small, but your impact on the world is so much. And I think that is what former Prime Minister Mulroney taught the world about Canada, that a small country can make enormous differences. And it did this for us, and a nation is free.
Consistently punching above his weight.
Yeah, you talked about when you went to go pay your respects at the Lion
Yes.
State in Ottawa. Brian Mulroney courage
Yes.
is what you called it.
And it is Brian Mulroney's courage. And how much the world is in need of that today. We need Brian Mulroney courage. Who will stand up to the impunity that we see in the world today? And he did it at a time in which thousands of South Africans were being jailed. I was one of them. The state, the apartheid state, was on a rampage, not only against his own citizens, but against the region. And they had the support of the UK, they had the support of the Americans. And Brian Mulroney stood up to say this is not what we mean by shared humanity. Shared humanity has to be something different, that we can dream of a better world. We can want a better world. And for South Africans, they should have a better world. And he played a huge role in us getting that.
Forging such deep ties between South Africa and Canada. We know that Nelson Mandela's first trip as a free man was to Canada. How do South Africans see Brian Mulroney?
Well, we see him as someone, he gives us hope. He gave us hope because, and you've got to understand this, when you are oppressed, when you are amongst the forgotten of the world, when someone stands up for you, it's an enormous, enormous thing. So that is the joy and the happiness that we have for what he did.
You talked about also how the UK and the US did not see things the same way, in fact, very different. And they were two of his closest political allies.
Yes.
I believe the Prime Minister's heading in right now, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. What do you imagine that took to be able to take the stand he did, despite our closest allies saying something completely different?
Well, it says to me that true friendship is to tell your friends when they are wrong. Right? True friendship is not to acquiesce to your friends, but to tell them when they're wrong, and that's what he did.